After rewatching my last few videos, I found that I've been selling myself and my book short. I don't mean that in a prideful way, I mean that in more of an actual philosophical sense about what the book is about. Propaganda and government mind control are only the surface level concepts that I explore in the story. In our modern lives, it's nuance of the mundanity of any situation that grips us subconsciously. The small situations and rituals that hold us, and the molding that comes from making the smallest decisions. Driving a car, for instance, requires concentration, and a multitude of decisions that will determine whether you will end up at your destination safely. Life is no different. I'm aware that this is not profound thinking by any means, but I am simply illustrating the notion that it's the mundane that defines us. What I'm saying is that in order to change society, we must first change ourselves, become cognizant what is being fed into our stream of consciousness, and either add or take away the influences that we feel are either beneficial or not. For what do we have in this life, besides how we decide to carry ourselves through death? My generation and myself are lost narcissists, bouncing from one event to the next, looking only for instant gratification and self-aggrandizement. Any tweet, like, or share about my book only adds to the raging fire of selfishness that needs that constant refilling. The minute I get home, I find myself yearning for it like a junkie. In communist Russia, a British spy was cast into the gulag, then hung by his mustache by a Russian soldier. The creeps in the police would knock on your door, pull you and your family out into the snow, then force you into an interrogation room for days until you confess to a crime you didn't commit. Prisoners sat on thin stools for days while their feet became purple from bloodlessness. No, the maladies we faced in modern living are no worse, just vastly different. The scope of influence has changed from a countrywide machine to a global, destructive, mechanized force. It's gone from a destruction of the body and mind through starvation to a destruction of the physical and mental from extreme excess. Gluttony has replaced jealousy. And how easy is it to take the easy way out? Simply put on the ocular of hopelessness. That is what leads to our narcissism. God used to exist to humble us, to strike us down when we became too prideful. Now our culture celebrates it. The media promotes it, and the propaganda machine fuels it. How easy it is to fall into self-isolation, forget our pasts and history in the typical selfish manner, and trade in the subtlety for constant entertainment. I'm no different. I yearn for ease and comfort rather than challenge and fulfillment. But we must realize that popular culture does not in fact represent the human experience. It is simply the worldview pushed on us by those in power. But it is easy to blame our problems on the rulers in order to justify and not realize our own power or take action for ourselves. Men and women used to live in harmony, understanding one another's unique needs. Now men desire to become women, and women desire to become men, just to fill the need that only the relationship stemming from a harmonious opposite sex attachment can bring. Repressiveness of our need for one another, stemming from different ideological dogma, kills our intimacy. And what of technology? Our desire for human contact is no less than it was thousands of years ago. But rather than lusting after the one thing that can save us, community, replace it with a cheapened form of wires and microchips. We cannot integrate with this new form of social media and replacement of the brain with wires without becoming the very thing we pledge our allegiance to. What you know, you can't explain, but you feel it. You've felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. That quote from The Matrix while seeming to act as a way to open your mind to the harsh realities of the world, instead acts as nothing more than a gatekeeper of the way to move past surface-level interactions with your reality. But after that in the movie, we were fed nothing but Hollywood propaganda, forcing our minds to think within the confines of its world, and as a result, the view they want to control us with. We never thought for more, we just accepted it. We all remember the moment that we first came in touch with that feeling, the moment our body and mind became cognizant of the reality we interact with on a deeper level. As a twin, I became aware of this early on. I still remember to this day where I was and what happened. I was in first grade talking to my brother. We both finally asked each other, "Are you real? Do you have thoughts and emotions and experience the world in a unique way? You're not mindless, right? You can see in front of you." As I grew older though, my conditioning and modern narcissism about being a unique snowflake began to take hold. I forgot this moment. How easy it was to simply wave everybody off as a mindless automaton and selfishly pursue pleasure. That is where Wired steps in. I wrote it not only for my fellow inhabitants of this world, but for myself as well. This book brings with it truth. Simple truth. It's not a fluffy, prose-filled world that relies on descriptions to fill its pages and make it a sludge to get through. It is stripped down and reads like a rocket sled in its pragmatism. I've been criticized for keeping the lead character minimal, but I did that on purpose. He acts not as a unique individual experiencing the world through his lenses, but as a conduit for you to explore your world through your paradigm. Call it lazy writing maybe, but I believe it to be more than that. I'm not forcing you to view the world through my view. I simply lay the truth out, then show you what I would do if I was living in that world. I'm no gatekeeper, and if you despise the book, I won't be offended. Our great awakening will not come from simply exposing the lies of the ruling class over and over again. We've already reached critical mass of that, and still no action is taken. There will be no big governmental expose that will awaken the masses. That view is naive and destructive by immediately placing yourself outside the very group of people you are. This becomes as addictive as searching for God, simply looking into sources to confirm our worldview. What must be done, at a foundational level, is to become aware of the mind and the reaches of space and infinity, realize our roots to our progenitors, and then move forward, reaching out for real human contact once again. This must all start by rejecting the current trends of technology. They do little for us mentally and are hindering our advancement in understanding. It dehumanizes us to a level I don't think we can fully understand until we free ourselves from it. I'm Tanner Nielsen. I'm the author of Wired, a Dystopian Novel for the 21st Century, and I hope you enjoyed this video.